this was the difference between us and the Asian teams. You can be really good individually, but at one point you can't get any better. Like, you get as good as they do, but the difference here is that they have an analyst and their micro strategy, you can call it, like their way of playing the game is so much better than yours, so your individual skill is actually non-existent. It doesn't even matter how good you are individually, because it's not going to change anything.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm joined here by Joe Miller and Martin the Fisher Lunga to break down Alliance's win over Gambit a bit further. We got to start off by what happened. Level 1 versus Darian, who got caught.
Well, so Alliance did the same thing they actually did yesterday, where the dual lane invades on the blue buff. And then Darian, I think he's like thinking to myself, because he sees them actually with the ward walking in. But he's probably thinking they're going to take the blue buff, so I have time to clear a few minions, recall to base, or at least escape from this one and just get a few minions. But because Alliance actually only hits the blue buff once and then backs away, it surprises him. He sees the first binding, it completely misses him, and he flashes anyhow. And then there's just a very long chase, and he actually ends up using both summoners. Lucky enough for him, he actually managed to pick up some farm, first of all in the mid lane, and then he returned up to top lane because Taps decided not to completely freeze the wave. He actually pushed it down.
I actually wrote on my paper feed to win GG in the early stages of the games because despite that death at level 1 later in the game, actually he drew a lot of attention away from dragons, from towers. Alliance were chasing him a lot of the time, so whilst it's a lot of deaths, and you guys who have Darian in your fantasy team, sorry about that from his side, but he did a lot of work there for Gambit as a whole.
He did, and sorry,
no
just
problem.
to interrupt to keep going on Joe's point here. It was a big issue for Alliance in general in this game here. They gave away 2 free dragons to Gambit as well in the mid game, where first Taps is in the top lane, next time Wicked without teleport ready is in the top lane, and Gambit just walks in, takes a free dragon, and it should never happen for Alliance because they were ahead. They should take full control of the map, never give up these free dragons here. And in general, using teleport to secure objectives is something the European teams really need to step up on.
Yeah, those were all factors that made that Alliance couldn't run away with the game as quickly as they did versus Fnatic. And as you mentioned, they were chasing kills where they shouldn't have, which made Gambit being able to push down the mid lane, for instance, with that cheeky Baron ward.
Oh, okay, yeah. So the ward was a bit unlucky for Alliance. It was there, and then we saw Darian with, again, classic Darian bait. He runs in like, oh, we have no vision. I'm not sure what's going on. Alliance just chasing 4 members, lose the tower. And it was, honestly, a little bit of a solo queue game. Both teams just ran around, kept fighting random places, kept chasing each other for kills. Gambit took advantage of it to get objectives. Alliance then, when it came to big team fights, they were actually stronger.
Yeah, I think the word sloppy really comes to mind from this one as well. The fact that Alliance had that lead, they were obviously dictating the pace of the game. They were the one baiting out the Baron. They were chasing here and there, losing those couple of objectives. Definitely something to work on from Alliance's side.
Yeah, but on the other side, once they got going, when they had a team fight that they could fight to their backs, they had a great calm the team fight. And we actually have a replay. We're going to put that up on your screen right now, because that Shyvana, that is scary.
Well, the Shyvana and also the Twitch. If you're against Twitch, if you don't instantly jump on him and just destroy him, he will kill you. Simple as that. He will kill your entire team. We roll the clip here. First of all, Wicked, he's very strong. He has early play of the Rune King, and then with Wild Growth and Black Shield, once he goes in, he's tanky. He's also doing a lot of damage. So Gambit, they need to deal with him. That's why there's so many members around him here trying to kill him. And now notice Taps in the bottom of his screen. He's a bit hard to see here. Nobody from Gambit is touching him. He's just firing away. Next time we see him come into the screen again, still full HP. He's doing all the damage to the team of Gambit here. Wicked, he didn't even die yet before now. And Taps, 100% HP, killing everyone. So Wicked and Taps combined here, the fact that Gambit didn't have enough damage, and also they didn't play the team fights correctly. They should have invested everything onto killing Taps instantly. Need to knock him up. When the Black Shield is on Wicked, he jumps towards you. That's why you need to turn on Taps and say, you don't have a Black Shield now. We need to knock you up with either the ulti from Edward or just Nick hitting his own knock up and then just go straight for him and kill him.
And also one thing that kind of impresses me from Alliance side, we heard from Quickshot and Demon during Champions League that Froggen has been tunneling on this Lulu pick. Definitely not a massive carrier like we've seen Froggen playing in the past. And I think that's a good sign actually for Alliance overall, that they are relying a little bit more on the likes of Wicked and on Tabs to really carry these games through.
It's definitely a very scary thing when probably the best mid laner in Europe doesn't have to carry his team, because everyone from Alliance can actually step up and do it. Shook as well, have his good games where he carries the entire early game. So it works out for Alliance.
Absolutely looking very impressive there, the Alliance. Well, our next game is good to go, so let's send it back to D-Man and Quickshot at the desk.
Thank you very much, Shocks. Up next is indeed Fnatic facing off against the Copenhagen Wolves. And during the spring split, these teams ended up tied at 2-2, despite Fnatic finishing second and winning the playoffs. However, Fnatic have started this Super Week in a terrible fashion, losing both of their opening matches against Alliance and SK Gaming.
So in terms of those losses, Fnatic lost after pulling very far ahead of SK Gaming, but due to individual misplays, they lost the game. And then yesterday, they lost to Alliance by simply being outclassed from a strategic and an in-game teamwork play style. I think Fnatic have looked pretty helpless this week so far, losing both of their games to a range of different reasons, and today they're going to be playing 2 matches. So I feel a win here against the Copenhagen Wolves will go a very long way to help restore their confidence. But I do want to give some praise to Reckless, because in those losses, he continues to stand tall. He delivers solid CS totals. He gets a very good KDA, even in losing. The problem is he never has a front line strong enough to help him control the game. So if Fnatic want to pick up a victory here, they need to actually band together and keep that young guy alive.
Well, the Copenhagen Wolves have had a very uneven start to the summer split so far. They had a strong start against Alliance, but ended up losing. And then they had a terrible start against Millennium, but ended up winning. And then they got decimated by SK Gaming inside 25 minutes. Considering we've seen both positive and negative aspects of their play, what are the chances against Fnatic?
I've got no idea. I feel like the Wolves are still trying to come to terms with their new players. If you look at Airwax and Woolite, both of them seem to be performing, and they're keeping up with what is expected in terms of their previous players. You know, they've replaced them well. I think Woolite in particular has impressed me a little more because from a mechanical standpoint, he's got good average CS numbers between 10 and 20 minutes. If you look at average kills and deaths between him and Forgiven, he's actually got more kills per game, but at the expense of 1 additional death. So, 2 extra kills, 1 extra death, I think I'd be willing to take that trade. In general, the Wolves still just suffer as a team from the same problems they had last split. Their picks and bans aren't necessarily the strongest. Their map play is good in the early game, but it isn't backed up by consistent team fighting. And they say that you learn a lot more from your mistakes, and in the 3 matches we've seen the Wolves play, they've been plenty at all stages of the games. So have they learned from him, and can they avoid them, because you can't give Fnatic any opportunities if the Wolves want to look to finish 2-2 on the week?
Well, of course, let's check out those lineups, because these teams, well, the Copenhagen Wolves have had a couple of changes, but first off, it is Fnatic over on the blue side. Can they get themselves that first win of the day? Soaz is in the top lane, Cyanide in the jungle, Peke in the middle, Reckless as the AD carry, and Yellowstar in support.
And on the red side, it is the Copenhagen Wolves. Youngbuck up top, the new guy in the jungle, Airwax, Kautard in the mid lane, new kid on the block, AD carry, Woolite, and of course, Unlimited as the support.
So, picks and bans coming in a moment. We did see Twitch sneaking through. Reckless and Woolite probably would be delighted to have that. Woolite, though, has gone towards Graves, as has Reckless a couple of times.
Yeah, Reckless is in love with Graves. He played it a lot at All-Star, so we'll see. There'll be some contested picks there. I want to see if Soaz is going to go for Jax. The only team that I would say deals with Jax effectively at the moment is Alliance. And also, if Peke plays Twisted Fate, he needs to pick the right cards more frequently.
Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Picks and bans underway. Game 2 of day 3. It has been a very much up and down season already as the opening matches play out. Fnatic 0-2 in the league right now. They desperately need themselves a win here to try and turn some of that confidence. They had a 0-8 run, remember, back in the spring. Evelyn and Yasuo banned out. Kautar's not going to be able to get his hands on his favorite mid lane champion right now. Kassadin and Jax also taken away by the Wolves.
So in terms of the big picks that are still up, Twitch is available, which is one of the keys. If it doesn't get banned through, I think we can expect it to be a fairly high priority pick. Fnatic have also first picked Irelia. This is something else to consider. Their very first game of the split, they did lock that in first.
Kale also available as well, which is a big champion for Kautard if that can sneak through. So the Copenhagen Wolves, I don't expect them to be banning it. Fnatic almost certainly will go towards Twitch if it's available. You can see Reckless is almost praying and willing. Look at how Lucky's intently is staring at that screen, hoping that it does not get banned out.
This is a difficult position for Fnatic. What we found in the spring split was they had...
Boom, insta-lock.
Yeah, no one's surprised by that. But the big thing for Fnatic is when they were winning, their mindset was so positive, they were like, well, we don't need to practice it hard, we don't need as much solo queue because we're OP. Then they started losing, and they were like, we're the worst players on the planet, what can we do? And they have these massive swings in mentality. If they don't break that mindset or that problem here now, they could be on for another bad run of losses. The insta-lock Twitch is a strong start to them because we know how good Reckless is, still yet to give up a death, even though they've lost 2 games.
Well, Ziggs was also left open. Kaltad's maybe looking towards that for the mid lane. And they get locked in. Copenhagen Wolves had a couple of interesting picks recently. They've played Lulu in the top lane a couple of times, and they've even pulled a Yorick out in the jungle for Airwax, one of his favoured champions apparently, which kind of, I think, caught the rest of the Copenhagen Wolves off guard when he picked him.
It's one of those things where you put a new player on the stage, you let them play a comfort pick, because it can help reduce the pressure of the lights, the pressure of
but when you say play anything you're comfortable with, he locks in Yorick in the jungle, they're like, huh?
Touche. But look, the pick didn't work out. They changed it the following day, still sticking with some of their core carries. This time around, we are going to be seeing the Lee Sin out of Airwax. Double duty. It also denies that from Cyanide, who has played Lee Sin. Cyanide has also played Elise this week, so we'll see what he decides to pick up, or he could just pull out something new and exciting. The Ziggs for Kaltad, it's been a staple. It's one of the sort of default mid laners for this first week of the LCS.
Cyanide chewing with a purpose right now. Whether he's got Elise to be locked in, it looks like it will be. Talking about it quite happily, going to go for that one. Peke, what will he play? Will it be his choice? Will it be a support? Remember, Thresh is available. Would maybe be a nice pairing, or would they go with that Morgana, which we just saw Alliance running alongside Twitch?
It's a tough choice. Morgana was played yesterday by Yellow Star. Thresh the day before, so those have to be the priorities. I would think that a support would be the smarter option here and allow your top laner or mid laner to counter pick. Alternatively, LeBlanc's a safe pick. So you've got now a counter. You can have kill pressure on Ziggs. You also are fairly safe if you want to get away from ganks or things like that. So they're allowing the support and the top laner to be countered because they know their opposition's mid laner.
Well, game 1, day 1, Peke did play LeBlanc, and it worked great in that mid lane in the opening start, and alongside Elise, they got a lot of kills in that mid lane on Jez. Jez knew that it was coming though.
Straight up, Fnatic's got a pick comp. It's that simple. If I was Soaz, I think, or Fnatic, I think a Trundle would be a very realistic champion to lock in here, and it would be very reminiscent of Cloud9 from North America. They have champions that can land, insta-burst. Twitch can stealth up, slow you. You have LeBlanc and Elise jump on you. That's a dead person. If you ever get collapsed upon and you have a Trundle, you just put the pillar up, and all of a sudden you've got Peel and Protect, which Thresh will also offer you.
Well, as Deficio pointed out yesterday, Leona is pretty much one of the main engaged champions of Unlimited, who tends to start things off for the Wolves. Of course, Woolite once again on that Graves alongside him. Graves
and Leona is like an old school combo as well. I mean, towards the early stages of last year, that was the control my lane, burst you down set of champions. Leona locks you up. The burst from Graves in laning phase is very strong. In terms of AD carries, you're going to have a fairly beefy tanky Graves, because when Elise jumps on him or Shyvana jumps on him, his passive is going to make him survive somewhat longer. But instead of going for the Trundle, we've got a little bit more of an engagey type of champion. You've also got more split push power from this Shyvana. So it gives Soaz the opportunity to play the lanes, play those side lanes.
With the final champion choice available, it is down to Youngbuck. What will he pull out? Will he go back to a comfort champion, which is Vladimir, which is currently hovered over? You can see he's potentially persuading his team on this one. I'm not too sure. Discussions going on. Will he go back to that Lulu, of course, what was banned out? So he can't have that. So he's forcing him onto something different this time around. Of course, he played Heimerdinger back in the spring, but I don't think we're going to see the Donger anymore.
I don't think so either. It's not going to work against this team comp either. I think that they would get jumped on. But for the Fnatic comp, you've got elements of a pick composition. They want to land a binding, land a chain, blow somebody up, and then push around. The one risk that I see on the side of Fnatic is sieging is going to be somewhat scary, and their wave clear is very, very risky. They do not have the safest wave clear. So if at any point Copenhagen Wolves get themselves into a siege position, Ziggs is going to bully them away. But then the Copenhagen Wolves don't have an AD carry that's going to be great in that circumstance either. So taking towers may be somewhat awkward during the course of this game. Vladimir locked in for Youngbuck. He's gone back to a comfort pick. It is something he's played many, many, many times in the past. And if you can combine the Hemo Plague with a Solar Flare, with a Mega Inferno Bomb, we've seen how much damage Ziggs can do. The only risk is Copenhagen Wolves don't really have a tanky, super tank frontline. You're going to have a tanky support and a somewhat tanky jungler. But I don't know if that's going to be enough to survive against LeBlanc, Twitch, and Shyvana if Soaz goes damage.
But if they were to sit behind their towers, they have absolutely fantastic wave clear.
Correct. Defensive purposes and aggressive sieging as well. They've also got good poke that they can keep Fnatic on the back foot. So in order for Fnatic to get a tower, they have to find a pick, they have to find a kill.
We'll see how it works out as the players prepare to do battle. Let's see how you called this match. According to LOLesports.com, well, you Fnatic fans have been voting strong. It is 85% in their favor, despite them being 0-2 in the league so far.
It is a strong vote, not the strongest we've seen. That was yesterday, 91-9, and it backfired. We'll see if the LoL esports curse will go backwards, because the Combinator curse always happens when we say one thing and the direct opposite happens.
There's some sort of curse, and whether it's a feature on the teams, it was last year, but that's been broken already because Millennium managed to cure that curse. So, match getting underway in just a moment. Fnatic fans have been waiting for a win, waiting patiently for a win. Will it come this time around? I
want to see how the lanes play out. That's going to be the interesting one for me. I think the Morgana Twitch has a very, very strong early game phase against Graves Leon.
So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Game 2 of the day. 5 matches to play out in total in this Super Week. And of course, North America will follow on Friday through to Sunday. Right now, though, Fnatic as the blue team. Will Soaz get himself a good start this time around up against the Copenhagen Wolves as the red team? And Fnatic did very well in the lane phases against SK Gaming, but against Alliance, they simply got outplayed early on.
They did. Alliance did all the right things, and Fnatic did all the wrong things. You know, Alliance applied a lot of pressure against Soaz in particular, denied him CSE. He had 8 by like the 8.5 or the 9-minute mark, and it was very smart play by Alliance. Fnatic were unable to break the siege. In this game, I think they have pretty advantageous lanes. Vlad takes a very long time to hit any sort of power spike. He needs multiple levels, and he needs a couple of items. When he gets them, he should be able to at least defend these tower pushes. You can't tower dive him either, which is a good thing for Copenhagen Wolves. Woolite and Unlimited, same story. They want levels before they're relevant. As it stands, the low level, there's no scrying orb. So Copenhagen Wolves are aware of Fnatic. They've caught Kautar!
Dark Binding catches on towards him. Will they manage to stun him out completely? The Ignite goes down. That may just be enough. No, the heal from Woolite will help his mid laner. And Kautar will survive. That's a summoner spell down for both the mid lane and the AD carry.
That's very important to note. There was no flashes blown on the side of Fnatic, only Ignite. And it's not over yet. Fnatic, they've got Unlimited!
Another Dark Binding, this time warded out. It's Unlimited they're going to go for. Airwax is going to be the focus instead. And First Blood will go to Soaz.
That was very well played by Fnatic. The one thing to note is in these very early stages, the First Blood is not worth the greatest. No, Unlimited. Oh, this is scary. The First Blood is not worth a massive amount of gold because before 2 minutes, it is 40% of normal. And at the end of the day, I just think it's much smarter what Fnatic did. They had very good vision. They got wards down in the right places. And just 2 pixel perfect Dark Bindings from Yellowstar, forcing Copenhagen Wolves into the back foot. There is no heal on Woolite. There's no flash on Kautar. Cyanide should have some free ganks if he can get in the right time.
So straight up lanes, despite the fact they are reversed and flipped around. 2v2 in this top lane, Unlimited and Woolite up against Reckless and Yellowstar, which means it will of course be Soaz versus Youngbuck in that bottom lane. Soaz though is not in lane yet. He's hanging around in this mid, waiting to make a play on Kautar.
Kautar's got no flash. If he gets rooted, he's going to be in trouble.
Oh, he's going to get caught out just out of the range of the leash. Good explosive satchel.
Yeah, he managed to...
Satchel charge.
Satchel charge. Managed to get the distance. Because of the fact that it's a timed ability, even had he been silenced, he could have just sat on there and just waited for it to knock him away, and he ends up getting out cleanly. Soaz does finally return to lane. A little bit of CS behind, but thanks to the First Blood, you'll notice he's already hit level 2, so he will be in a very good position going forward. Got about 150, 200 gold lead thanks to that kill.
Yeah, we'll pile forward that tower, taking some of the CS away from him though. This top lane is an interesting focus. Level 2's being hit all around, no full engagements coming out. Of course, Twitch with 100% win rate so far, and was certainly going to be the one to watch.
Yeah, and especially because that he wants to play aggressive. Kautar's being jumped on again. Peke definitely playing with confidence on LeBlanc. Definitely not afraid to jump forward, and he's landed everything he's needed to on Kautar so far.
I gotta be honest, when your flash is burned, that's a very scary situation for Kautar to be in this early on.
Yeah, Kautar's relying heavily on that satchel charge, so you know, if he does misstep, he will be in trouble. Yellow Star and Reckless are trying to put pressure on Unlimited, and that's Unlimited going deep.
Unlimited going far too deep and takes a good burst of damage. 0 damage dealt to Fnatic. Airwax is coming around though. There is no ward, but you can see Cyanide is going to make his way around. Instead, he's going to go towards the race. Now he's making his way up top. Oh, Unlimited again, taken very low, goes with too deep on this one. Yellow Star's going to drop. Is he? No. Reckless does manage to get himself a kill. Airwax now in trouble, taking 2 tower hits, and now he's going to catch on towards Yellow Star. Doesn't get it. Reckless gets himself a double. Walleye in trouble. Cyanide claps on towards him. Cocoon will be back up in just a few seconds. Hasn't got the time of flash. He's throwing the poison and gets him down. And Cyanide gets a third.
That was very good play. Unlimited was trying so hard to force the kill. After landing the Zenith Blade, he responded to Yellow Star's flash with a flash of his own. And while he did get the stun, they did not factor into the case that Cyanide was nearby. Unfortunately, Airwax just dove too deep, and Copenhagen Wolves, feeling the pressure of those early kills, feeling the pressure of that early invade, it made them go too deep, made them go too aggressive, and Fnatic capitalized. A double kill on Twitch. He goes back to lane with a Bilgewater Cutlass. That's terrifying.
Airwax, Cocoon not quite catching on towards him, Paki not quite landing the full burst combo, but there's a lot of pressure on the Copenhagen Wolves early on from Fnatic. It's already a 2,000 gold advantage. This bottom lane is the only big advantage they currently have. Youngbuck, of course, with that 38 CS on one of his favorite champions, it's safe to say. So we'll see how it plays out for him, but they have to worry about that gold gifted across to Reckless. The fact that he's coming back to lane with a Bilgewater Cutlass this early.
You draw a comparison. It's a longsword versus Bilgewater. They're in trouble. Cyanide's going to find a gank. Youngbuck has flash and Sanguine Pool. Can he get away? We'll find out.
Soaz tries to bait it. Good Sanguine Pull away from that Cocoon. Cyanide may still continue chasing though. He's going to follow him up and out of the lane. Keep the experience away. Unlimited caught out with another Dark Binding this time around. Reckless uses that ambush, manages to catch on towards him, but he's got to be careful. You can see the poison ticking down. Yellow Star's not able to finish that off. He's now going to get focused on Airwax and Walleye. Are they going to get enough damage down this time around? No, another Dark Binding from Yellow Star. Constantly landing them.
Yellow Star has not missed one of those Dark Bindings yet. He saved his life multiple times. He set kills up. That was Yellow Star and Reckless going aggressive on Unlimited. But because of the fact that he's got a double kill, Airwax may be babysitting this lane. Airwax may be trying to help them out and get Woolites and Unlimited to level 6. At which point the aggression factor can be turned around. But Woolites farming well. Reckless and Yellow Star spending so much time trying to look for kills means it is at the expense of CS. So they haven't built themselves a CS lead, despite what you could consider a lane victory in their favor. Although, to be fair, it's just been drama the whole time. All of the fights and engages have been around this lane.
Very aggressive stuff from both of the top lanes. So, we do see some items being picked up. It was the standard for Vlad, the Hextech Revolver. We do see Spectral Cow being picked up by Soaz as well to completely counter that one. Remember, he got first blood in this game for Fnatic. Soaz, of course, behind in CS, but no worries there, I don't think, too much just yet.
Oh, we'll see if Cyanide's in trouble.
Oh, Cocoon. Then you can see the silence catches on towards him, should be followed through. That will be a kill, this time for Cyanide.
And that was Cyanide that was being collapsed on by 2 members of the Wolves, and Kautar just opted to run back into threat range. His support was further north, his support was in the jungle, and unfortunately he got caught out by the mighty Xpeke and just got taken down. So 0-0-2, Cyanide gets the kill credit. Very strong start by Fnatic. Remember, they had a similar start against SK Gaming. They had a tower lead. They had a 5,000 or 6,000 gold lead. Oh, Youngbuck's diving Soaz.
Oh, Hemo play going down on towards him. Soaz not too worried. As I mentioned, he picked up that Spectral Cowl, so do no damage being done with that ultimate this early on.
But the aggressive play from Youngbuck is actually making Shyvana's life very difficult. Soaz is not in a good position. They're going to tower dive. Oh, that's a great sidestep.
Yeah, sidesteps both Dark Binding and Cocoon, but he still takes a good burst of damage. Yellow Star, again, Unlimited going far too deep on this one, and the poison will continue ticking on him.
Reckless has just hit level 6 on this wave. So if Woolite and Unlimited stick around, they may be in trouble. I think it's smart play to back off. Reckless, with that rat-a-tat-tat, definitely could melt through their HP.
They are going to avoid maybe a 3-man stack on there. Youngbuck, as you mentioned, has been aggressive. He did have a good CS lead early on, and it will only build stronger as Youngbuck heads towards that fabled level 9 for Vladimir.
Yeah, gonna get that max level in charge. If you use a few, just allows you to sustain very well. Youngbuck's done a very good job at keeping pressure on Soaz, and Kautar's in trouble again.
He's in trouble, he's going to get caught out, stunned out, he ignites down. Peke's not going to follow through this time, or will he? Satchel Charge comes out, Peke doesn't chase, had no vision of the jungle.
Exhaust is burned though, so if Kautar comes back to lane, he's just going to be at risk of being shut down. So Peke definitely in control of the tempo of the lane, and Airwax is in trouble.
Airwax face checking straight into the bush, Cyanide ready, he will safeguard into the Dragon Pit. And again gets out, Cyanide 2-0-2 so far on Elise, doing a fantastic job on one of his favorite champions.
Yes, it's definitely his one of his most played as well. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to help him get a win earlier in the week, the very first game. The one thing I do want to note is that Cyanide as a jungler seldom carries games alone. If you go look at Cyanide, he's great at stealing. He's probably the most support style jungler because his Wraith Camp often gets taken by Peke. Double golems and the whites often get taken by side lanes. So at the expense of all of his farm, when he does get kills, I don't know if he's relied upon by Fnatic to pick up those wins. We'll see how he does this game.
Kautar is having a torrid time now. It's only getting worse. He's now got a blue buff on, which Peke would almost certainly fancy. He's going to get one of his own, though. Cyanide's going to try and start that off. And Copenhagen Wolves are looking to try and make a play here, try and pull something back against Fnatic.
Yeah, they don't want to run the risk of being surrounded, and they're dilly-dallying about for the time being. They haven't gone in for the blue buff. They do have some vision, at least of the entry. Yellow Star standing on top of it. Unfortunately, I think the risk was too great. Copenhagen Wolves have already fallen behind because of over-aggressive plays, and I think it would have been very, very scary for them had they gone in.
So, in terms of AD carries, Reckless chose to go for Berserker Greaves rather than completing that Blade of the Rune King. Didn't quite have enough money for it. Instead, went for a little bit of speed.
Considering the damage that you have from LeBlanc and Elise, he doesn't need the Blade of the Rune King rush quite as quickly, because if he does go for a roam to set up kills or try and move around the map, the Berserker's Greaves in conjunction with his ambush is going to give him a lot more presence if he starts roaming. Remember, they took the tower down as well. So technically, Reckless and Yellowstar are unlocked from that top lane if he wants to go that route. Soaz going aggressive. I think it's just to clear the wave, though. I'm not sure if he really wants to...
Well, he cleared the wave and gave Youngbuck pause for thought there, that's for certain. He's sort of stepping back away from that one, just realizing...
Oh, here comes Cyanide.
We're bullying it a little too long. Satchel Charge already used. If good Cyanide switches to Cocoon, does not land. Oh, that Sonic Wave didn't land on Peke. Mega Inferno Bomb is available, but I don't think it's quite got enough damage to follow through. Yellow Star pops out his ultimate on towards Warlight. He's the focus target. Ward goes down on towards him. There's the Dark Binding. Reckless finds his time to get around there. The Mega Inferno Bomb's coming on to Reckless. He's going to flash out of it just at the right time. The tower hit goes on towards him, and now Unlimited's on towards it. Look at the jungle. You can see Airwax making his way up. Yellow Star out of position now, and he's going to use the columns to come across. Kicks it back in towards Unlimited.
Wow.
Yellow Star's going to go down here. No doubt about that. And the Copenhagen Wolves turning it into a 2-for-1 in their favor.
So bravado on both sides of the table. Copenhagen Wolves earlier cost a double kill for Reckless. Now so has been dived again.
Emo Plague once again goes down, but not enough damage, as we pointed out first off. Trying to get him, simply bully him out, but this time around Cyanide is there to counter. He manages to sink them poisonous fangs in towards him, switches out. Cocoon not going to be used just yet. The pull is too early, but the flash was just about right for Youngbuck.
Yeah, Youngbuck played that one very, very well. I was quite impressed by Cyanide. He baited out that Sanguine Pool from Vladimir. But just to very quickly touch on that top lane, Reckless and Yellowstar feeling so confident, so far ahead, they forced that 2v1. Yellowstar went all in. Youngbuck is not over yet.
They dived on towards him. They know that Sanguine Pool timer was off. Cyanide's tanking the turret just a little too long. Repels away, goes back in, picks himself up the kill. The tower will not take him down, and it was a clean execution from Fnatic.
Very well played. Fnatic stuck to their guns. They managed to find the kill. Youngbuck probably should have backed off earlier. And I think Fnatic are just dictating the pace now. Everywhere Cyanide is going, he is finding kills for his teammates, and he's securing objectives now. This will be the second tower of the game falling in favor of Fnatic. If they pull the support of Reckless or maybe Peke, they could set up Vision and look to take a Dragon as well. You can see multiple members of Copenhagen Wolves towards the top half of the map, and there's a ping on Kautar. This is where the stealth comes in. Kautar's in trouble.
Uh-oh, comes in around it. He's going to get stunned out. Didn't expect the rat to pop, that's for sure. And he gets taken down. Reckless gets himself a fourth.
Yeah, that's the power of Twitch. when you roam, when you are unlocked with that ambush, you've got no tower or no lane to defend against your opponent. It just gives you those opportunities. So blue buff now stolen away by Fnatic. Pekka is going to be able to hop over the wall in his next attempt. A bit of a delay thanks to missing his first W. And I didn't see, yeah, finally got it.
Finally gets it down there. That's going to be the Dragon as well. Everything going Fnatic's way this time around against Copenhagen Wolves. Can they turn that deficit round?
All of that whole passage of play happens from that gank onto Youngbuck a few minutes prior. Because Fnatic had forced Copenhagen Wolves' resources and they had the information that, look, Leona and Graves are top lane, we know we can gank Kautot mid lane. It just set them up to secure an uncontested safe Dragon and get themselves a 6,000 gold lead at 15 minutes. Now Fnatic need to avoid being caught out. Fnatic can continue this roaming style of play, but they cannot run the risk of losing kills, you know, getting caught by Kautot bombs or allowing Youngbuck to secure a kill or two, because all of that good work can be undone.
Well, we've talked about teams using their gold advantage. They have a 6,000 gold advantage right now. So as finding that pink ward, he'll clear that out before he gets away. Zenith Blade from Unlimited going aggressive on this one. So as happy to try and take some of that damage, uses the burnout. Meanwhile, just in that top lane, Yellow start clearing out another pink ward. So vision was trying to be gained by the Copenhagen Wolves, but was cleared quickly by Fnatic.
Yeah, Pekka's just really jumping on Kautot every opportunity. That little trade, he knew he was going to take a tower hit. Got one, you know, took a hit, but forces Kautot away, forces him backwards. Actually going to see us advantage from Pekka on LeBlanc versus Zig, which is quite uncharacteristic in terms of the direct matchup. We'll see how Reckless can do. We've got vision superiority in the jungle, so Fnatic's working with a lot of information, but unfortunately there's no target for Reckless.
But we talked about how great the wave clear was of Copenhagen Wolves, and they are doing a great job in that mid lane. But the fact is, they have the top laner and AD carry waiting around this pit. Youngbuck's going to come straight into it, knocked around the side. Sanguine Pool available, but that's not going to be enough to get him away from Reckless and Soaz. And it's another for Reckless, now 5-1.
Blade of the Ruin King completed, and they just decimated Youngbuck there. The amount of damage he took from a few auto attacks. And as we touched on in pre-game, Fnatic, if they find a pick, they can secure an objective. They found one, they got one, they're going to look to rinse and repeat.
Yeah, they're going in towards that mid lane. Kautot's got to be careful. The rest of Copenhagen Wolves looking to try and defend their inhibitor turret, but that's not the focus of Fnatic. They simply want this mid lane, and Kautot's got to be careful he's not collateral damage.
Yeah, the problem for Kautot right now is he's got nowhere to go if Fnatic dies. Because of the amount of burst that they have, there's no Rat-a-tat-tat from Reckless though, so it's not going to happen. But because of the burst that Fnatic has, if a Dark Binding or a Cocoon or one of the chains from LeBlanc actually connects with the target, Fnatic can pop that champion and get out cleanly. You've got mobility on Shyvana, on Elise, on LeBlanc. You have these abilities to get in and out, and the Black Shield for safety as well. So Copenhagen Wolves need to be very careful around the towers and rely on Ziggs' range to the best of their ability.
And Peke just continues to throw out damage, just carelessly, because he's got that blue buff on him. There's no pressure on him. He's not actually felt the pressure, honestly, from Elwax at all. And Kautot almost certainly has been on the back foot ever since using that flash in level 1.
Yeah, Peke needs to probably back. He's sitting on 2,200 gold that he hasn't spent. Reckless has got 1,000 himself from this last period of play. And once Peke gets even more ability power, you've seen how one QR combo on Woolite dropped about 40% of his HP. That's going to go up to 60-odd%, 65% once he gets probably a needlessly large rod, maybe Sorcerer Shoots. So a lot of money to spend. Fnatic are in absolute control of the game, but they do need to get past Ziggs. They do need to get past the wave clear of Copenhagen Wolves. That is the toughest task they have to deal with. They want to do it by kills, but if Copenhagen Wolves play safe, it's going to be much more difficult.
So as making a move in towards this mid lane, he's going to come around the backside. Kautot is backing away. He's actually over at the walls right now, warding out everything around that back, and may get caught out himself. Youngbuck is looking to come across. He may be the focused target once again, may simply get caught out of position. So as has finding, puts that twin bite down on towards him. Burnout running. Youngbuck's taking half his hit points already. Tries to escape, but he's got nowhere to run. So he's going to try and get, flash just at the right time away from that ultimate, and just about survives, but that could be the turret. Nope, I think they're going to turn for an objective.
There's nothing that Youngbuck can do in that situation. He just gets run down. He doesn't have the tools to deal with the Shyvana 1v1. This is the dead Woolite.
Woolite caught out, the stun comes through. Peke hasn't quite got the burning down. It's a good flash from Warlight, survives.
Yeah, flash and heal.
Yeah.
So that manages to keep him alive. And I'm going to say it, if Pekka had spent his 2,200 gold and more ability of power, he would have killed him. So Pekka does continue to farm up. He's got 3,000 gold now. May just decide, you know what, screw it. I'll farm straight for a death cap.
This time around, Fnatic do move in. They will take themselves an inner turret. It's the second one of the game. No, stepping away, a little cautious, a little overcautious, I would say, because they have that 6,000 gold lead, 9-2 advantage. Instead, they'll take the blue.
They do get the blue buff, and you can't run the risk of getting caught by Solar Flare. So even though the satchel charge was good on Soaz, there wasn't enough threat or not enough members of Fnatic to be caught by that Solar Flare. If Fnatic do get locked up, there is a lot of damage that can go down.
Pekka in this top lane still gets back 3,000 gold now in his bag. I think he's waiting to instantly buy a Rabadon's death cap. 3.3k I think is what he needs. And that looks like what he was waiting for. So, we'll see where he goes with that one. No, he's cancelled back in. He's going to stick around a little bit longer.
Yeah, well, you know what? You've committed this far. Oh, disappointing. Fnatic now 3 towers to 0. They've got the top lane completely exposed, completely open to them. Soaz can continue the split push at will. YoungBuck can't contain him.
DFG.
YoungBuck can't contain him at all. So, in order for Copenhagen Wolves to get back into this game, they cannot afford to lose inhibitor turrets. If they get pushed all the way back, they can wait, they can stall this game out, get YoungBuck relevant, get Airwax relevant, and keep Kautar's damage up. But the problem for Wolves is, if they lose one single member instantly in a team fight, they're going to struggle to defend those objectives. If they lose Kautar by playing a stall game, Fnatic's just going to have free reign. Here comes Reckless. Goodbye, YoungBuck.
Out of position. Wow, Soaz was flying in towards him before he even had a chance to come out of that bush. He's just mowed down. Minigun style from Reckless there. No doubt about it. 5-1-2 now, Reckless. Soaz having a great game as well. 2-0-2. In fact, really everyone on Fnatic is having a fantastic match right now.
Yeah, there's very little to say that Fnatic is doing wrong. They're playing their composition perfectly. You know, the very first 3 picks that they locked in was Twitch, Elise, LeBlanc. And which 3 champions are carrying them right now? Twitch, Elise, and LeBlanc. It's just doing such a great job. Also, all props. Oh, Yellowstar's in trouble.
Oh, Solar Flare doesn't quite land though, and instead, that almost got turned around to a kill. You can see the rat-a-tat-tat from Reckless just taking down that turret, pulling the damage back on towards him. The attack speed doing wonders. And, well, I don't really know what they can do to stop Fnatic other than try and engage. Zenith Blade doesn't land, teleport's going to be useless.
Yeah, if your flash Zenith Blade doesn't connect, then you're not going to be able to do anything. The Solar Flare wasn't ideal. I think the one person I do also want to highlight is Soaz, who's had a difficult 2 days, you know, both in-game and across social media. And this time around, 2-0-2, his Shyvana play is very, very good. He was under a lot of pressure by YoungBuck early on in the laning phase, but once he got that Spectre's Cowl, he's just been shutting YoungBuck down at every opportunity.
And again, this is another tower. 5-0 now for Fnatic. Dominating this matchup so far. Dark Binding from Yellowstar. By the way, Yellowstar, fantastic start from him. All those Dark Bindings have led entirely to this situation that Fnatic are in right now.
Yeah, tiny bit too early on that push by Soaz. His Blade of the Rune King just came off cooldown as YoungBuck got out of safety. But you do have to question, what was Copenhagen Wolves' thought process for picks and bans? In our pregame, we said the picks and ban phase is somewhat questionable. YoungBuck's now going to get caught out.
This time around, he's not going to get away. Blade of the Rune King in there. Hemo Plate goes down. Sanguine Pulse only simply buying him time. It's now 4-0-2 Cyanide in the jungle.
Number 1, thank you, Cyanide. You are my starting jungler on my fantasy team. Number 2, I have to question the picks and bans. You know, you've got a lot of ability power. There's double AP in YoungBuck and Kautar. You have wave clear from Ziggs. I don't fully understand what role Vladimir was supposed to fulfill in these team fights. He can obviously amplify all the damage of his teammates, which is great for the Ziggs burst and the Graves burst. But then you're relying on sort of a double AP modern style wombo combo. And if you don't hit everybody with all of that, with the Mega Inferno Bomb and collateral damage from Graves and Ziggs, then you're just not going to do anything. We've seen it from Gambit in the game prior. They didn't hit multiple targets with their burst damage, so they didn't win team fights. Vlad can't even stand up to a Shyvana 1v1. How on earth is he expecting to survive the rest of the team from Fnatic? So, as it stands, Copenhagen Wolves just falling further and further and further behind.
Trying to get as much as he can in that top lane. Meanwhile, in this mid, you can see this will become a problem if the Copenhagen Wolves can just basically completely turtle up. We know it's a 12,000 gold difference. We've seen bigger turns. SK Gaming versus Gambit the other day almost turned around in the exact same favor. But Copenhagen Wolves really need to turtle up, and as you mentioned, they can't afford to get picked off. But when they get back in towards those inhibitor turrets, if Fnatic don't get a pick, it's going to be very hard for them to break that deadlock.
Yeah, it will be. The final straw that will break the Copenhagen Wolves back is the inhibitor turrets. Once they lose one of those, it just gives Fnatic all of the tools. I really like the fact that Fnatic looks to be going for Baron now. Because of how far ahead they are, either they get a Baron uncontested, or they find picks on Copenhagen Wolves. Dark Binding connects!
It lands, but it doesn't get followed up. Now it does. Soaz pounces in now. Limited's the back target. He's going to get picked off. Mega Inferno Bomb comes through, but not really doing the damage. Peke hit and run from the side there. Catches everyone off guard. Ignite's running on Woolite. I'm not sure if it's going to quite catch him down. It will! Peke gets himself the kill there. Airwax goes down. It's an ace. No problem. Fnatic running through the base.
That was a flawless ace. Even though Peke's flanking maneuver looked very risky, he just executed those distortion dash forwards, dash backwards very, very well. Everyone from Copenhagen Wolves was funneled into a small, tight area. If they had chased, like they did, towards Fnatic, Reckless's ultimate, that Rat-a-tat-tat, just went through and mowed them all down. Very smart play. You know, Fnatic forced Copenhagen Wolves back, forced Copenhagen Wolves to come to them. Look at the positioning. Peke's not even involved. This is actually 4v5. But Reckless is just going to line up unlimited. He's not really a threat of going down. And his ultimate, the Rat-a-tat-tat, is now just going through multiple targets. It was just smart play. I mean, there's not a whole lot more to add other than Copenhagen Wolves 14k down. Not caught.
Yeah, and Airwax followed through the kick and then was completely out of position because Peke went straight back in there. You know, I had a lot of tweets before this game saying, where is the Fnatic of old? I think they are shining through right now against the Copenhagen Wolves. Maybe they've had some harsh discussions over this Super Week. Super Weeks can make or break teams, and of course they went 4-0 at the start of the spring. They are, you know, champions of Spring 2013, Summer 2013, Spring 2014, undisputed champions of Europe since the LCS began. So obviously when they do have a 0-2 start, everybody is right to ask the questions.
I agree, and we had this discussion internally regarding Fnatic as whether they're the most successful European League of Legends team, and I think the majority of the consensus is yes. You know, they did win Season 1, they had a terrible Season 2, undisputed Season 3.
Yeah, he's dead. Mid-air.
To carry on with story time. So Fnatic coming into the start of the summer split, they just didn't look to be on the same page. Maybe 2 harsh losses is what it took to wake them up somewhat and get them into a more focused mindset. But they do have another game here today. It will be against Roccat, and Roccat will be shaking in their boots because Fnatic are looking phenomenal.
Oh, wow, Unlimited's dead. No,
gets away.
Just about, but Airwax is going to pay the price of being the sacrificial lamb. And he drops down. There's the Baron, and Fnatic continue on through. It is kill after kill after kill for Fnatic right now. And, you know, speaking of burnout on Soaz, burnout is a serious issue. Woolite's down. Reckless is just running on through. 7-1-7 right now. This is domination from Fnatic finishing the game. Fnatic, are they back? Who knows? They have 2 games today. This could be the beginning of something they absolutely needed. Mega Inferno Bomb does finally shut down Soaz, but it's a double for Peke, cleaning out those fantasy points. Repel does get him away from the Nexus turret. Cyanide still doesn't die for you. 5-0-6.
Success!
21-3. I don't think they're actually going to finish the game here. I think they're going to delay. No, they are. They got super minions. Here we go.
Finally, the next wave makes it to the base. Fnatic just dominant. They're absolutely dominant this game. From the early picks, early rotation, they played their comp well, and I think there are a lot more questions for the Copenhagen Wolves. What was their goal?
Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Fnatic closing out the game, getting a couple of CS at the end as well, making sure they get themselves a couple more points on the board for everybody watching. 23-3 overall. It finishes now. 9-0 in turrets, and I think pretty much every objective in the game picked up by Fnatic. Fnatic are back, ladies and gentlemen. It's the first game of the day for them. They will have another one coming up later. But it was a great start. They are now 1-2 in the league, and the Copenhagen Wolves a little shaken by that one. They are now 1-3.
1-3 on the week. 1-3 on the week. Copenhagen Wolves just took a walloping from the very early stage.
From SK and Fnatic now.
Yep, two very, very bad losses back-to-back. Definitely started the Super League stronger than they've ended.
25-minute game against SK, a 28-minute game against Fnatic, which honestly could have been 25 minutes because they dilly-dallied a little bit towards the end.
I do want to say the picks and ban strategy from Copenhagen Wolves, I think, needs some revision. You know, we've touched on the fact that they had the Yasuo combo yesterday. Kautot is a phenomenal Yasuo player. They comboed it with a support Zyra and a top lane Lulu. But I'm not 100% sure that top lane Lulu is working for Young Buck. It's not quite having the impact we're looking for. Also, we missed a few wild growths that you're looking for knockups for their Yasuo. They tried that comp, the core of the comp anyway, twice, didn't work. Now they've switched it up to do something else. They put the Ziggs, the Vladimir. And again, questions. What was the game plan? They had options for team fights, but wombo combo damage comps are just not that effective at this level of play.
And the irony is that Youngbuck is basically a bruiser player. Hey, that's what he was. He was known for Renekton. Why is he not pulling out the Trundles, the Renektons, the Shyvanas? Why is he not going back to these champions? Instead, Lulu banned out from him this time, falls back to Vladimir, a champion he has played to good success in the past. But just didn't seem to be in it at all in this game.
We'll have to find out next week, because 1 and 3, at least Copenhagen Wolves have a point on the board. There's a lot to look at, right? There's a lot of things that they can evaluate. And I would definitely say their early game laning, decision-making is actually very good. I like their lane swaps. I like their map movements and rotations. I just don't really like what champions they're doing it with and their execution, like the actual ability lane. Like that early double kill for Reckless was purely Unlimited getting a little overzealous with the support of AOX. Thought he had the kills, overcommitted, Cyanide came in and gave them up, unfortunately.
And of course, great level 1 play, this time from Fnatic, seemingly working well, getting that first blood early on Soaz, catching out the mid laner, Kautot, and burning his flash. Everything was gained by Fnatic at the start. We are going to go over to the stage with Shox, who is standing by with Reckless from Fnatic.
Thank you very much, D-Man. Congratulations first off, Reckless. Fantastic victory here of Fnatic. Talk me through your guys' mindset, because I saw no smiling faces in Champion Select and actually not really smiling faces after that convincing victory.
Well, it's tough for all of us, like past days or the past month, I would say, since All-Stars has also been in the past. It's kind of tough for all of us because we get hurt by, like, the community is kind of sometimes harsh against some of our players. So we just try to stay together as much as possible and try to ignore it and look forward pretty much. And then we try to play this game as good as possible, since we learned a lot from Alliance yesterday when we lost to them. So today was a lot better.
It definitely was. It must be a huge boost for you guys doing this well in this game. What do you think were the core elements that made you guys go so far ahead in this game so fast?
I think at first we wanted actually to lane swap, because with Twitch you don't really want to 2v2 because you kind of lose every matchup. But we had a pretty good level 1. We caught Lee Sin, I think, and we forced Leona pretty low. So I had a pretty good laning phase already because I could just push out the lane and get level 2 before the Leona even came to the lane. And then I got a double kill, I think, and I was so far ahead already. So I think we played a pretty good early game, and it gave us strength. And Twitch is just so strong afterwards because I can just go invis everywhere and kill people.
Absolutely. Final question. You've been very vocal on Facebook as well about how you feel in the team and how things are going. What do you make of these 3 games you've played already? What is it like in the team right now?
It's, as I said before, it's kind of tough because people get kind of hurt about what people say and stuff. But we just try to stay together because we're, after all, a team and we work together. So we lose together and we win together pretty much. So we just look forward all the time. You definitely won together here. Thank you very much. Thank you. Now it's time for a short break, but when we come back, more action as Millennium takes on Gambit Gaming. We'll be back in 3.5. Don't go anywhere.
You can be your I was about to say that.
Yellowstar's going to drop. Is he? No. Correctly does manage to get himself a kill. Airwax now in trouble, taking 2 tower hits, and now he's going to catch on towards Yellowstar. Doesn't get it!
Airwax is not over yet.
They dived on towards him. They know that Sanguine pull timer was off. Cyanide's tanking the turret just a little too long. Repels away, goes back in, picks himself up the kill. Peke hit and run from the side there. Catches everyone off guard. Ignites running on Woolite. I'm not sure if it's going to quite catch him down. It will! Peke gets himself the kill there. Airwax goes down. It's an ace.